The royal family is no stranger to drama, but recent whispers from within the palace suggest a storm may be brewing between Queen Camilla and Kate, the Princess of Wales. At the centre of the latest palace tension is Kate's cancer update video, a polished production that was meant to portray her strength and resilience. Yet, insiders claim that what was intended as a moment of personal disclosure has now sparked a serious clash between the two women, with Camilla reportedly striking out at Kate with a cutting remark. According to sources, Camilla joked that Kate's video looked like a shampoo commercial, a comment that has now become the focal point of speculation about a deeper, more bitter conflict. The video itself, lauded by some as carefully produced and emotionally moving, is being viewed through a different lens by palace insiders. Kate, it seems, has used her illness as an opportunity to garner public sympathy, presenting herself in a perfectly curated way, while still insisting she is relatable and strong. Some observers argue that her polished performance, with soft lighting, elegant scenes, and the presence of her children, came off less as an authentic message and more as a stage-managed attempt to manipulate public perception. In other words, it was not just a personal update, it was a PR exercise disguised as intimacy. Camilla, never one to mince words, reportedly saw right through it. Her so-called joke about the shampoo commercial was not just humour, it was a pointed critique of Kate's attempt to stage-manage vulnerability. To Camilla, the video may have represented everything insincere about Kate, the carefully orchestrated visuals, the emotional cues calibrated for maximum audience impact, and the subtle insistence on public admiration. Insiders claim Camilla's words, though delivered with her characteristic wit, cut to the core of what many palace watchers already suspected, that Kate's public persona often masks personal ambition. But what makes this feud particularly explosive is the history of tension between the two women. Camilla, now queen, has long navigated the complex dynamics of royal life with experience, savvy, and a certain ruthlessness. Kate, on the other hand, has often been accused of presenting a veneer of perfection while quietly consolidating influence behind the scenes. The clash over the cancer video is less about humour and more about power, control, and public image. By mocking Kate's video, Camilla is not simply joking, she is sending a clear signal that she sees through Kate's self-curated performance. Insiders suggest that this is only the beginning of a larger power struggle. Sources close to the palace describe a situation that is increasingly tense, with both women manoeuvring for influence within the royal household. Kate, it seems, is determined to maintain her image as the picture-perfect princess, while Camilla is prepared to challenge that image whenever it veers into what she perceives as manipulative or calculated. The result is a simmering battle that is part personal vendetta, part royal strategy, a war being waged behind the gilded doors of the palace. The timing of this confrontation is also telling. Kate's video was meant to generate sympathy and positive coverage, but Camilla's sharp remark has reframed the narrative. Instead of a story about resilience, the headlines now focus on tension, criticism, and palace intrigue. Observers note that Camilla's influence over public perception cannot be underestimated. A single pointed comment from the Queen can shift the conversation from admiration to scrutiny almost instantly. And in this case, she has used the shampoo commercial jab to remind everyone who truly commands authority and credibility in the royal hierarchy. From a tactical perspective, Camilla's move is brilliant. Kate's polished video may have been designed to portray control, grace, and emotional depth, but Camilla's criticism exposes a vulnerability, the disconnect between image and reality. Kate's attempt to frame herself as both relatable and admired is undermined by Camilla's sharp observation, revealing the precariousness of her carefully managed persona. Royal insiders describe it as a strategic strike, a public yet subtle assertion of dominance that simultaneously criticizes and diminishes Kate's credibility. But this is not just about public perception, it is about internal palace dynamics. Behind closed doors, sources suggest, the atmosphere is tense, with both women engaging in what some insiders describe as a silent war. Meetings, appearances, and interactions are now being interpreted as tactical maneuvers. Every smile, every gesture, every carefully chosen word is being read for hidden meaning. Observers suggest that staff are walking a tightrope, unsure whose favour to curry or whose authority to follow. In essence, the palace itself has become a battlefield, with Kate and Camilla at the centre of the struggle. Kate's response to Camilla's comment, while restrained in public, is reportedly calculated in private. Sources indicate that she is not one to back down easily, and her efforts to protect her image may lead her to counter Camilla's critique at strategic moments. This tug-of-war between the two women is shaping up to be a long-term conflict, with both sides willing to play the game of optics, influence, and power behind the scenes. It is a struggle that goes beyond a single comment. It is about asserting dominance, controlling narratives, and securing legacy within the royal household. Media commentators and royal watchers have not missed the implications. Social media is rife with speculation, with fans debating whether Camilla's comment was harmless humour or a deliberate attack. Some argue that the joke reveals a deep mistrust and underlying tension between the two women. Others see it as a warning to Kate. Polish, performance, and public sympathy are not enough to secure influence, and those who attempt to manipulate perception may find themselves exposed by those with more experience and authority. The stakes are high because this conflict is not theoretical. In the high-pressure environment of the royal family, perception is everything. Every move is scrutinized, every statement analyzed, and every interaction can shift the balance of power. Kate's carefully managed image is a cornerstone of her influence, and Camilla's criticism threatens to destabilize that foundation. Observers warn that if this rivalry escalates, it could have ramifications for alliances, public perception, and even decision-making within the palace. What is particularly striking about this unfolding drama is the contrast between appearance and reality. Kate's public video projected strength, grace, and resilience, while Camilla's comment exposes the potential for artifice beneath the surface. It is a reminder that in royal life, nothing is as simple as it seems. Charm, elegance, and emotional resonance are not always markers of authenticity, and Camilla's sharp critique has laid bare the possibility that Kate's public persona may be more performance than substance. Sources suggest that staff and aides are already noticing the tension. Meetings have become more formal, interactions more guarded, and subtle gestures carefully measured. Some insiders describe an atmosphere of cautious observation where allies are chosen carefully and every word is weighed for its potential consequences. The shampoo commercial comment, once a simple quip, has become a touchstone for the growing rivalry, a signal that the gloves are off and that both women are prepared to fight for influence, recognition, and authority. Camilla's approach, according to palace insiders, is methodical. She does not strike blindly. Her critique is calculated, designed to undermine where necessary while maintaining her own image of wit and experience. Kate, on the other hand, is described as reactive, keen to defend her image, assert her relevance, and maintain public sympathy. The clash of these personalities is magnified by the pressures of royalty, turning what might have been a simple disagreement into a fully fledged internal war. Observers also note that the public dimension of this feud cannot be ignored. With millions following every move, both women are aware that perception is power. Kate's video may have been intended to evoke empathy and admiration, but Camilla's critique has reshaped the narrative. The palace drama is now front-page material, with each remark and gesture dissected by media outlets, commentators, and fans alike. What was private has become public, and the consequences are playing out in real time. In this context, the shampoo commercial comment is more than just humour. It is a strategic strike, a warning shot in an ongoing battle for credibility, influence, and control within the royal family. The tension between Kate and Camilla is escalating, with each move scrutinised for weakness, each smile examined for sincerity. Insiders suggest that what we are witnessing is the beginning of a prolonged struggle, one that will test loyalties, patience, and the ability of both women to navigate the complex web of royal politics. Ultimately, this episode serves as a cautionary tale about the pressures of royal life. It reminds us that behind the pageantry, the titles and the public appearances, there are real conflicts, ambitions, and rivalries. Kate's polished image, while admired by some, has become a target for critique. Camilla's sharp wit, far from being harmless, is being used as a tool to expose weakness, assert authority, and signal that the rules of the game are not to be ignored. As the drama continues to unfold, the palace watchers, fans, and media will undoubtedly keep a close eye on every interaction between Kate and Camilla. Will this rivalry escalate further, or will diplomacy and restraint prevail? For now, the signs point to conflict. The war lines are drawn, the public eye is watching, and the fallout from a single shampoo commercial joke has ignited a storm that could redefine the relationship between these two powerful women. One thing is certain: in the palace, image is everything, and influence is power. Kate's carefully constructed persona has met a formidable challenger in Camilla, whose experience, sharpness, and strategic acumen make her a force to be reckoned with. The battle over perception, control, and authority is only just beginning, and the stakes could not be higher. For Kate, the challenge is not just about public sympathy or admiration. It is about navigating a rival who sees through the facade and is prepared to strike when the opportunity arises. In conclusion, the palace is witnessing a clash of titans. Kate, polished, image-conscious, and carefully curated, faces off against Camilla, experienced, sharp, and unafraid to expose weakness. What began as a light-hearted critique has now evolved into a simmering war, a battle of influence, perception, and control. The tension is palpable, the stakes are monumental, and the world is watching every move. In the world of royalty, where every gesture is magnified and every word carries weight, this feud is a reminder that behind the crowns and ceremonies, the battles are very real, and sometimes ruthlessly personal.